hey, if you're a US citizen and you want to protect your retirement and you haven't got our free ebook yet, then you're really missing out. So click on the link in the description and find out how you can secure your retirement and your future today.
Good morning. Welcome to the Charlie Ward Show. I'm Paul, and today we are joined by Adam and James from the Goldbusters website, and these two know it all about gold. And I'm going to hand straight over to them because this has been a very interesting week. Over to you, Adam.
Hi, Paul. Yeah, thanks for having us. Well, knowing it all, no pressure. I think it's been an interesting few weeks actually for us. We tend to monitor the gold silver and also the gold silver ratio, which is probably what we spend 95% of our time kind of talking about and looking at, because it offers the most bang for your buck. You get the most value from it, and we can go into that and talk about how that's evolved and what opportunities that's presented. I guess, look, I'll give the disclaimer this time, James, just to let you off for a week. Look, everything we say is just, it's not advice, it's information, education. We don't want to give advice. We don't believe in advice, because if you're relying on us for advice, then we're the one that holds the power, and we never want to do that. We want to empower you with information, so that actually you don't need us. We're trying to do ourselves out of a job effectively. So just information, education, and do what you like with what we say. But yeah, been some interesting things. We've seen some volatility in the stock market.
We need to cover this, Adam, because it wasn't just volatility, was it? It was a massive crash. But it wasn't just on the stock market, though. It was the crypto markets as well. They plummeted.
Yeah. I always think, look, if you imagine like there's a big pool of money around the world, and there's only so many options as to where it can go. So if it's coming out of the stock market, out of crypto, where's it going? It's always moving to somewhere else. It's not just vanishing. You know, people say, oh, so many billions has been wiped off the stock market, or whatever they say. It's not disappeared. It's gone somewhere. And that's what I always look at, is where's it going? Where's it going and why?
Where's it flowing to? It's currency, isn't it? Current. It goes with the currents, doesn't it? It has to go somewhere.
Yeah, it's moving. So I think the Asian markets took a huge dip, and I think they recovered a little bit. But this is why, I guess, for us, we put what our hard-earned money in metals, because, you know, seeing dips like that worry us a little bit, that they can and have gone to zero in the past. Whereas metals, they've never gone to zero. It's extremely unlikely. And I think we want to be able to sleep at night and make sure that, you know, what we've got is not going to disappear.
Sorry, Adam.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, just jumping in here, Adam, let's not forget, everything is backed up by gold. All else fails, gold is there in the background, protecting everything.
Sure. I guess it is.
Always has been. Always, yeah.
Yeah, it is for us, and I think it's what we've always talked about, is it's about positioning yourself, best positioning yourself for what's likely to happen. And no one knows exactly what's going to happen. If we did, we'd be on a desert island somewhere drinking an exotic drink. But we look at what's happened in the past and say, well, is this likely to happen again? And are things getting more unstable, or more or less unstable? And for us, metals position us in the best place. That's the best way I can kind of summarize it all. It's about positioning yourself
In the safest place, I think. I've always said that. I've always felt that. In the safest place, so no matter what happens in the world, that you're in a good place. You know, it's taking yourself out of whatever happens to the world. It doesn't affect you too much. I mean, it's putting you in a place of safety. So no matter what happens out there, we're still good. Our family's still good. You know, so you got to look after your own family and your friends, and just get the word out and try and encourage your family and friends to do the same thing. That's where we started, Adam, wasn't it? We did it and then started helping our families to do it, and then friends.
Yeah, and that's our prime focus with metals. You know, look, everyone wants to make money and profit and all these kind of things. For us, the number one, the first and foremost thing is to protect what we've got, and second to that, we want to then grow what we've got. But protection is number one. You know, I always remember the saying by Warren Buffett: 2 golden rules. Number one, never lose money. Number 2, see rule number 1. And that's what it's about. Protect and secure what you've got outside the system. Look, there's nothing in the world that has zero risk. And if anyone ever tells you, oh, it'll never go down, the zero risk, run a mile. You know, in our experience, that just doesn't happen. But you can reduce those risks as much as you can and protect yourself and ring fence and do what you can. And that's what we feel we've been able to do. And just so has it, we can actually multiply our metals at the same time. So win-win.
So Adam, just tell me, what do you mean by multiply your metals? Sorry, I don't know what that term means.
So let's say this might sound oversimplistic, but if you buy 100 grams of gold, let's say a bar of gold, in 20 years' time, the weight of that, the amount of grams of that gold will still be 100 grams. And you might say, well, yeah, of course it will. The way that you typically profit from metals is that the value of that 100 grams goes up over time. So the quantity stays the same, but the value of that quantity goes up. It's called an appreciating asset. What we do is something a little bit different, and that is being able to take that 100 grams, buy the 100 grams, but then actually multiply that. So let's say in a year's time, you've now got 110 grams. And typically the only way you could do that is by buying more. But the way we do it is you don't need to buy more. In fact, the strap line is multiplying your metals without putting your hand in your pocket. So it doesn't cost you anything, no extra cash, to increase the quantity of metal over time. So let's say take that same 20-year period, you might buy 100 grams, and obviously the market's going to do what it does over time. But at the end of 20 years, you could have 200 grams. So you've got double the metal and the price has gone up. So you get this kind of compound effect. And we've helped loads of people do it now. There's been some opportunities recently that I can show you that people have been able to switch. They've switched from gold to silver. And yeah, it works really well. Once people get it, they love it. That's what we talk about all the time. So,
well, when I speak to Charlie, sorry, James, what was that you said?
No, I'm just saying, why wouldn't they love it? Because when you get it, you just think, wow. Once you've done it and you've seen it working, and think, oh, I started off with this and now I've got this. You just like, it's a little bit hard to, you just think, that's too good to be true. That, how can that be? You know, it just doesn't make sense initially. You just think, no, it's too, some people will write it off. They'll just think it's too good to be true and they'll write it off, but they're missing out if they do.
Yeah.
You know? It works. We've been doing it, since September 21, we've been doing it. So, and it works.
Oh, so you've got a really good track record with this then.
Yeah. And I always think better than just our results is we've got our customers' results, which speaks far more than just us saying, look at us and look what we can do. It's more a case of saying, look what we can show you and what you can do for yourself. That's brilliant. The power.
Because I know when I speak to Charlie, he raves on about the switching because he's gone, oh, well, I've made this much more and that much more. And I'm thinking, wow, you can actually do this. So I've been wanting to sit down properly with you two for a while now and really get to the crux of all of this and how it works. Well, so
let me show you. I can show you in a really, really easy way. So let me just share my screen and I'll show you this chart. And I think visual's always better. Seeing's believing, isn't it? Does that come through?
Yep, I can see that clear as day.
Perfect. So look, don't get too caught up on like the details. I'm just going to give you the broad brush stroke. So this is the price of gold which is great. Look, we always want a graph to go up and to the right. That's what our brains are kind of trained to look out for. Up and to the right must mean over time, the value's going up. And with gold and silver and a lot of other things, you'd be right in thinking that. Look at silver. Yeah, it's gone up. It's come down a little bit recently, but generally it's kind of up and to the right. What we look at is something called the gold-silver ratio. And this is the price of gold divided by the price of silver. So it compares the two prices. So at a number of 90 over here, it says for 1 gram of gold, you can get 90 grams of silver. Okay, so it's like a relative a ratio. So it's just relative prices. Again, don't worry about it too much. But with this graph, we don't want to see it just go up like that. And it's unlikely that it ever would. What we want is this kind of range where it just goes up a bit, down a bit, up a bit, down a bit. Because at every one of those up a bit and down a bit, we can switch from one metal to the other and actually increase the amount of metal that we hold, physical metal. Yep. And I'll make it. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, just to jump in here, Adam. So I'm just looking at this because I'm not versed in this. So I'm attacking this from a layman person. So this is nothing to do with the price. This is the difference between gold and silver.
This is two prices. It's the price of gold and the price of silver. You take one, and what this graph does is it takes the gold price, divides it by the silver price, and plots a point. And we call that the gold-silver ratio. You don't need to work this out. You don't need to be done in calculator. This graph just churns that out for you. But if you were to take the price of gold on a certain day, the price of silver on a certain day, divide one by the other, you would get the gold-silver ratio. So, and all it does is it just gives you a relative representation of whether gold is relatively expensive or relatively cheap, or silver is relatively expensive or relatively cheap compared to the other metal. Okay?
Yep.
So we're just comparing the two. That's all it is. As you can see, if we look back, let me just make this a weekly chart just so we've got a bit more data. As you can see, something up here, 120, whatever it was, this was during COVID, it went up here. You can see this is an extreme. At this point, silver is relatively cheap compared to gold. Okay. When it goes down here, gold is relatively cheap compared to silver. And let's just really nail down what that's actually saying. At 120, that's saying for 1 gram of gold, you can get 120 grams of silver. So you get a lot of silver for your gold. When it's right down here at the other extreme, let's say it's at 30, just for the sake of easy numbers. For 1 gram of gold, you only get 30 grams of silver. So we're talking about relative prices. What we look at is when the ratio goes up, we're looking to either buy silver or switch our gold to silver. Because the higher it is, it's saying silver is relatively cheap. And what you've got to do is, I know people around the world might not get this UK kind of saying, but think like a northerner. You want what is cheap, okay? We're in the north, we're cheap, we want a bargain. So if silver is relatively cheap, then we want what is cheap. So we're switching our gold to silver or buying silver. At the end of the day, you want to end up with silver at a high ratio. And then when the ratio comes down, you have an opportunity to switch that silver into gold or buy gold and multiply the metal that you've got. So I think when we last spoke, I'll just change this to a daily chart. When we last spoke, each one of these bars represents a day, just so you know. The ratio had come down. People were buying silver up here or switching their gold to silver because it was relatively high. And it came down to around the 75 mark. I think when we spoke, maybe it came down a little bit further after that. And a lot of people switched their metal. They switched from their silver into gold.
Well, we did, didn't we?
Yeah, we did that ourselves. And Charlie did. And he was messaging me saying, okay, are we ready to switch? And, you know, we guided him through it. Since then, what's happened? Go ahead.
So this is something you two both do yourselves with your
Yeah.
gold, wherever it
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
this is what you do.
We don't talk
Without a doubt.
we don't talk about stuff and say, hey, this is a nice idea, try it. We say this is what we do for ourselves and our families. If you like it and want to do it as well, great. If not, no problem. We're not here to convince people of what to do. The numbers speak for themselves. You know, this doesn't need convincing. Once people see what it does, they either like it or they don't, and most people like it, if I'm being honest. So look, you had some silver here. The ratio's come down. You've switched that silver into gold. Since we've spoke, the ratio's bobbed along, bobbed along, bobbed along, and in the last few weeks, it's gone back up again. This is perfect. Because what that means is you can take that gold and switch it back to silver. And if you compare the amount of silver you had here, gone to gold, and the amount of silver that you now have here, the amount you have here is more than what you had here. And it's not cost you anything out of your pocket to do that.
Can I just add something to that, Adam? Just add something to
Please,
that. I spoke to a
please do.
customer just 2 days ago. He was adamant he wanted to just stay in silver, and that was back then, early on in the year. He's like, I
Yeah.
bought lots of silver. I just want to, I don't want to switch it because I think silver's going to do better in the future, and so on and so forth. I spoke to him just several days ago, and he was like, why didn't I listen to you? Because I said to him, yeah, that's great, you know, if you want to stay in silver, but what if the ratio drops? You can switch to gold and then come to silver, and you're going to have more silver. So it doesn't make sense just to stay in silver. If you can switch to gold and back to silver, you're going to have more of it. Then, and he's seen the chart, he's seen the ratios, and gone, I should have switched to gold when you said, and then switched it back to silver. I was like, well, it's just part of the learning, it's part of the journey. Don't knock yourself.
Yeah.
Just next time it happens, take advantage.
Can I just jump in here as well?
Mm.
And it wasn't like he was selling it back to fiat money. He was
I know.
moving it into gold.
Another metal, yeah.
Fine. Yeah, yeah.
The worst
So
case
there was no
scenario in
loss.
all this, yeah, the worst case is that you just sit in the other metal for a bit longer. So, yeah, and the good thing about this, Paul, as well, is look, from this chart, we don't know, if we'd not looked at the gold and silver charts before, from this chart, we don't know, and ultimately don't really care, whether gold's going up, going down, silver's going up, going down. If you can have a kilo of gold at 50,000 euros a kilo, or 2 kilos of gold at 50,000 euros a kilo, and the price has stayed flat, you'd take the 2 kilos every day. So if we can multiply our metals, and metals never go up, which history shows they do, but let's assume they don't. They're just going to stay, they're going to bob around, but they're never going to increase any more than they are now. Fine, we'll just have more of them. It's that simple. In reality, we're accumulating more metal and the price is going up. So we get this compound effect. Because when the market goes up, let's say 10%, everyone that's bought their 100 grams and they've still got 100 grams, it's gone up 10%. If we've been able to get 10% more metal and the whole thing's gone up 10%, well, now we're really, really compounding and making a big difference. And that's the main thing we focus on. Yes, we think metals are a good thing to do, and we encourage people, you know, this is what we've learned, this is how they benefit us, and this is how they benefit other people. But don't stop there. There's I feel like an infomercial, but wait, there's more kind of thing. And the more is very, very powerful. It's not like just a little bit of an add-on. It makes the whole difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see how powerful it can be moving forwards.
Yeah, definitely. Let me just show you one other thing that we created a spreadsheet to help people kind of get their heads around this and how to manage it and all this kind of stuff. And we've just done a bit of a revamp of this spreadsheet to make it even easier. Because look, we're learning on this journey as well. And we're always wanting to make things better and more user-friendly and all this kind of stuff. So let me just show this spreadsheet. So what this spreadsheet does is it allows you to calculate whether it's worth switching or not, and enables you to keep a record. So what you would do on this spreadsheet, we give this away for free, by the way. So if anyone wants a copy of this, they just email us. We send you a copy. That's it. You put in the day, month, year of your purchase. So let's take this one that's already on the screen. So 3rd of April 2019, the metal purchase was silver. If you put in gold, it turns nice gold color. Nice little feature there. And you put in the number of grams that you purchased. What the system then does is it tells you what the ratio was on that day of purchase. So you don't even need to find it out. Okay. And then you tell the system, okay, I bought it at 85. Let's put in a ratio and see whether it's worth switching back. So if we put in 75, it tells you at that ratio what your profit will be straight away. And you can do this with any numbers. So let's just pick another random date so you can see it in action. And let's just plug in numbers here. So 71, let's say you bought gold on that day. You bought 100 grams. And it tells you that the ratio was 71, and you'd be looking to switch at, say, 84, 10.15%. So you know you're empowered as to the ratio on the day that you bought, and then it tells you, you can change these numbers around and tell you how much roughly you're going to make when you do that switch. So it's a predefined profit. There's no guesswork. That makes sense?
Yeah, it does. So what is the difference you look for? Because, is it 99% difference or is it 1% difference?
Yeah, so we typically would say a minimum of 10 points. So for example, 85 to 75 would be 10 points. Okay, that's a minimum. Because there are fees for switching, but it comes out of this profit of switching. So again, you don't have to put your hand in your pocket to pay for those fees. It comes out of the transaction. So for example, let's say 85 to 75. I'm just giving you random numbers here, so don't hold me to these exact figures. But let's say 85 and 75 was a 10% profit, but there was 3% fees, and you're left with 7%. Just
so you're still up.
You're still up, and the difference between the ratios pays for the fees and then the profit. So you want to make sure that you're not doing, for example, and the fees are baked into this calculator. So this is all 7% after fees. So let's say you put in 81. It would say, well, actually, the difference between 85 that you bought at and 81 now, you're not going to profit. That's going to be taken in fees. So you need a bigger gap.
That's brilliant. That's a great little tool.
Yeah.
You just have to be cool and wait a bit longer. Yeah,
just wait a bit longer. What we then do is, let's say you've bought this silver and you say, I want to switch it at 75. Obviously, on the day, we don't know whether it's going to be exactly 75.00. It's going to be something slightly different, but that's fine. Once you do that switch, you go across and you input the gold that you switch your silver to. So now on this day, you got gold. This is how many grams you got. The ratio was actually 71. It had a big dip, let's say. And now you say, well, look, I'm going to switch back to silver at 85, what I bought it at. Once you do that, you follow it on, and you can keep a record of the journey of your metal. And at any point, you can say, look, I've now got 6,039 grams of silver. And when I started, I had 5,000. So you can visually see the quantity of metal going up over time.
The gains, yeah.
And that's just going to keep each person using this on track. And at the end of the day, we want the number to be going up, not down. And as long as it's going up, we're winning all day long.
Yeah. You can see that all day long there, that, as long as you're not greedy, and you're trying to squeeze every last penny out of this, you should, without too much stress, be able to increase your holdings.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If you did this,
this is something you can do over
I think the 10 points difference is the key. Just keep it simple. We always, the amount of times I say that to customers, just keep it simple. 10 points. not think of anything else, you know.
The thing that we've had people ask in the past is
Yeah.
they've said, oh, I switched at 75 and it went down to 73. You know, I could have made more. You could, that's true. But no one can predict the future. No one knows exactly what's going to happen. And it's about exactly what you said, not being greedy. It's about putting your point in, putting your ratio in and saying, if it gets to here, I will be happy. I will be happy with that profit. Because inevitably what happens is people say, okay, I did it at 75. It could have gone down to 73. It goes up a bit. It comes down towards 75 and they say, I'm not going to wait to 75. I'm going to wait for 73. And then it reverses and goes the other way. And then you miss that opportunity. So if you've got any kind of greed or anything like that, the markets will humble you very quickly. It's a bit of a self-maintaining system that just have your mark and just say, look, this is the point I'm switching at. And that's it. And look, if it goes higher, it goes higher. Fine. No problem. Don't worry. You've made a, you know, if your metals are increasing over time, that's it. That's the most important. As long as they're not going down, then you're winning.
Yeah, in my example, Paul, I've just switched my gold, a bunch of my gold, well, all my gold to silver recently at 85. But since I did that, the ratio bumped back down a little bit, then it bounced back up. It's been up at 88, hasn't it? So
yeah.
But I don't care because I've made my profit. Don't get me wrong, when I first started doing this, I might have been a bit grumpy, but not now. Not now. Just no, I'm happy with that.
I do feel like this is something you could do over a cup of tea.
For sure. For sure. And this is why we like it and why it's good for the masses. Because look, we're talking about doing switches here over months. You know, this is quite unique that it would happened in a few weeks. But even that, you're not sitting up all night on your computer, you know, really like waiting to click the button. It's done in a very chill environment. It just doesn't require a lot from you. It's quite simple in that respect.
Yeah. And it's not something you have to sit there and watch because every second, oh my God, moments happen. Because I've been in crypto, I've been in stock markets, and you know what? Oh God, I've had a roller coaster over these last 4 or 5 years. Honestly.
You need a strong stomach to do those things. And look, hats off to people that do. And if you can do it, but we just find to help most people, to help the masses, that's not the tool for them, and that's not the asset class or the way to invest.
It's not the right tool for the job, is it?
No.
Yeah, spot on, mate. Yeah, spot on.
I think as well, those people that are that way inclined will find their way anyway. We're kind of most proud of helping people that say, look, I've never done this before. I've never invested. I've never bought anything. Let's have a go. Let's work it out. We've bought a bit of gold. We've bought a bit of silver. We're going to try switching. And when we get emails, which we get probably daily now, saying, thanks so much. I was very nervous. I wasn't too sure. I followed what you guys said. I've switched and I've now got X amount of grams more metal than I purchased.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. That's the best thing for us. Obviously, we'll help everyone, but those are the ones that stick in your mind.
Yeah. Because I remember when I was on last time with yourselves and Charlie, and Charlie was telling me, oh, wow, I've made this amount extra and that amount extra. And I'm sitting here going, I'm not fully sure what is actually going on. But now I'm on my second video with you guys. I'm really starting to grasp this a lot more. Yeah. Because for me, in the UK, the amount of people I'm talking to at the moment, and they've paid in pensions and all of that, all their lives, and they're all saying it's going to fall short. But then you talk to people who have got into assets, hard assets. You know, a news story I saw yesterday, a bar of gold in 1930 could buy you a house. A bar of gold today, the same size bar of gold, can still buy you a house.
And exactly.
It's the one asset class that,
even if you just said that, it explains it all, doesn't it?
Yeah. I think as well is, look, we're not against, like James said, it's about having the right tool for the job. And there's some scenarios that, you know, pensions can work and this kind of thing. But our kind of thoughts on it is it's out of your control, and you pay the money in, and then it's kind of, yeah, it's like flip a coin on whether it works or not. Almost, is it performing well? Is it not
There's too
performing
many
well?
strings attached, Adam, isn't there? Too many
Yeah,
strings. There's too many do's and don'ts, and
and we want to have an active element of our investment. We can't control the market, but we can, with switching, we can actually play our part and have a bit of an edge where we can do something. We can actually influence the results of what's going to be at the other end. And I think that's the worst thing. Like, it's like helplessness when people go, it's going down, or it's not done what I thought it could do, and I feel like I've not got the tools to change it. I've not been educated. I don't know how to participate in this game. So our whole thing is about educating people, putting the power in their hands so they can control it and they can do something about it if they want to. Takes a little bit of work, takes a little bit of understanding, but once you've got it, I mean, it doesn't get any more complicated than picking a number and then picking another number. When we boil it down, that's essentially it, and clicking a few buttons. Yeah, it's not the be all and end all, but we've seen it have a good impact on a lot of people now.
Well, you've been at this 3 years now with this, and can you both honestly say you're pleased
God,
with
yeah,
it?
yeah.
I think when you see the
yeah.
numbers going up, the amount of metal going up,
1000%.
and you've not paid for them, you've not bought those extra
Mhm.
grams, who wouldn't be happy with that? I mean, just to put it on a real practical level, we had an email from a customer the other day who said, I bought some metal,
You beat me
I
to it.
switched, I made X amount more, I can't remember what it was, and I'm getting that extra metal delivered to my house so that I can have it in my hand, and I've still got the bit that I paid for at the beginning. We were like, yeah, perfect. Like, how is that customer not going to be happy? They can literally have their cake and eat it. They've got both. So
they're skimming off the top and going,
yeah,
here's my physical. The only problem with that is then you can't switch it because it's sitting next to you on your desk.
yeah, that's true. That's true. And I think one thing
Yeah.
we've often talked about is if you did want any kind of retirement plan or retirement account that you control, is you could build up your metals over time and then switch and just spend the extra that you've the increase, and then you never touch the original amount. So that could be a possibility for some people.
Yeah, because you're not going to draw down your whole pension pot at once, are you? No, you're going to skim off the top, and if it's still making more money,
yeah,
effectively it's free money.
Yeah. You just have to trade a bit of time and a bit of knowledge, and you're getting better than free money. You're getting free metals.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
brilliant.
yeah, it takes a few goes. It took us quite a while to get our head around this, but once we did, it was worth doing. So if in another video, we come back and you say, okay, I've been thinking something to come up, the cogs have been going when we stop the video. What about this and this and this? Then we'll address all of that. There's no questions you can ask that we've not asked ourselves and know the answer to at this point. So yeah.
And what I like is that you guys are at the end of an email, and for all your questions, if you've got a question, you two are by far probably the best people to ask about all this.
Well, we do it for ourselves when we've had the experience. If you're saying I'm clicking on this button and it's doing this, we say, yep, that's because of this, and we can go into our account and replicate what you're doing.
Oh, fantastic. And where can everybody find you?
Goldbusters.co.uk. We can leave a link in the description. Just get in contact with us, submit your details, and we send you all the stuff anyway. And then, we'll help you, hold your hand as much as you want us to along the journey.
Oh, fantastic. Well, thank you very much, gents. It's been an absolute pleasure. Great to see you both again. And I look forward to seeing you again next time.
Sounds good. Thanks, Paul. We'll speak soon.
You take care, Paul.
Cheers.
See you, Adam. See you, James.